YouTube, it's Brian Phillips. We've got the F-15 Eagle by e-flite. Ours have seen better days and trees, but we never did a second thoughts on this thing. And so we figured we'd take the opportunity. We have a beautiful fall evening. Megan and I are both getting done being sick, which was super fun. And without further ado, we're gonna take off right now, flying it on 2200 4S. So that was an accidental safe takeoff. Otherwise, I probably would have gone a little bit higher. Out of the throttle now, just gliding it right in front of us. We're in AS3X now. Very cool. Right over the vampire killing zone over there. We'll come back over. What a beautiful looking plane. Just glides along like flawlessly. 100% throttle there. We'll go in here and do a high bank here. Now this is a bank and yank plane, but we do have a rudder we added. And the rudder is part of the nose gear. And so we can get a little hint of yaw. As you can see by pulling that nose down. Very good roll rate. This thing flies on rails. Very easy flying plane. It does definitely take a little bit of room to execute pitch maneuvering. So if you have this plane and you put it in the stock, I believe it's on the outside most hole. You may want to put it in the middle or inside hole so that you get the maximum throw on the elevator. It's going to help you in a couple of different ways. Let's see if we can land it. We'll do a touch and go at least. I apologize for my raspy voice. It's just kind of what you get right now. Woo! That was quite the touch and wind. Oh, that's so sweet.
Looks so cool.
Good inverted flight performance, if I didn't mention before, but not tons of elevator on this plane. Anytime you have a touch and went with this jet, the battery bay is such that you got to be real careful that it doesn't slide forward on you and throw your center of gravity off. And that's one thing about this plane too that you need to be aware of. You'll note that when I pull up, I have to pull up really hard to get that thing to lift because the wheels are far back. Okay.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6.
Trying to get into an alpha configuration here so I can slow it down a little bit. There you go, guys. Beautiful. And it does have a steerable nose wheel so you can get it around on the ground just fine. It's got really good ground handling actually. So if you guys are looking for a really fun, easy to fly EDF jet, this is equipped with safe. This is a great place to start. It's got fixed gear, which doesn't look as cool as retracts, but it's a whole lot simpler and less to deal with if you're new to the hobby or if you're just getting into the EDF jets. And this is a very cheap one to fly because you only need a 4S pack instead of 6S like some of the more advanced airplanes. Also 6S means that it's a lot more expensive to equip. So a couple reasons to consider it. Obviously you can see we've damaged this one. We crashed into that tree up there and that's what coined the term the Eagle killing zone. And that was on maiden. So you can see how far back I have that battery. It's way back there. So that was a 3-minute flight timer. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna pull out the power plug and we're gonna stick it into the XBC 100 battery checker, which is gonna tell us what the voltages are on each of the cells. Now, if you had an Avian ESC, you could set up thrust reverse and you could also do telemetry. Oh, I didn't get my smart pin inserted all the way. That smart pin is the middle pin. That's probably it. I could go a little bit longer, but I'm just gonna. All right, so there you have it, guys. Super fun plane. You know, when we first got this thing, I didn't know what to expect. I had heard it flew good, and it really does fly good. And, you know, within the line of Horizon Hobby, people talk about the Viper jet, the F-16 70, and then this, the F-15 64 millimeter F-15, which is a single 64. Can you see in there? Mm-hmm. Okay, so that means there's one electric ducted fan that comes out a port that looks like two, but 64 is plenty power for this little thing. And people talk about those being the 3 easy to fly EDFs. This is by far the easiest of the lot. The F-16 is quite a bit harder, and yet it's not hard, but it's a lot harder, trust me. It's also got retracts, and it's got a little bit better scale appearance because of the size. But I still love the way that the F-15 looks. And it's so weird because you would think that these landing gear would just drive you nuts, but really once you're in the air, it's not really that noticeable. So my only thing on it is if I hadn't have crashed this a bunch, I probably would have taken my gear off, but I just kind of like having the rudder. It's nice, the little rudder here. So that was a super easy thing, took us about 10 minutes to do. We do show how we did that in our unbox build and radio setup. So if you're curious, you can go back and watch that. It'll be in the playlist for this plane. And I don't know if you guys realize this or not because our videos are so long. At the end of the video, we have links that will take you to the playlist for the given plane. We pretty much always do that. We show a plane that's similar. We have a subscribe, thing for people that want to subscribe. And then of course we have the most recent video. And we pretty much follow that protocol all the time because we know one of the biggest questions is, hey, what else have you done with that plane? And some of these planes we've only done 2 or 3 videos. Some planes we've done 50. It just depends on the plane and depends on what we had going on at the time. We haven't had a lot of planes lately that we've done 50 videos on, but we do get in the weeds on some, and then some planes we pretty much just show what it's like to unbox, set it up, and fly a couple of times. This is a great little plane. This is not gonna be your last plane, by the way. If you get this as an EDF, it's gonna be like an introduction to EDFs. And electric ducted fans, how different can it be than a prop plane? Well, the difference isn't necessarily the fact that it's a jet. It's the difference is that it takes time for the EDF to spool up. And so when you give throttle, it's not instant. And it's also a lot worse power to rate ratio in most cases. That's not always the case, but if this were a prop driven plane with the same power system, it would be unlimited vertical or very close to it. EDFs just don't pack the same punch. They may be more efficient in certain ways, but they're not gonna pack the same punch. But it is sure cool to look at. And also, what are you gonna do? Plop a prop on the back and call that good enough? That was something they had to do in the 80s and 90s and early 2000s. I mean, we can get an EDF now that's powerful. So super cool. And then safe on top of it. And if you don't know what safe is sensor aided flight envelope. And so I'll turn it on now. If the plane is turned upside down, it's gonna automatically try to level the plane. And if you look at the elevator, it's trying to level it right now. So when it brings it level, it just flies straight. When you let go of the sticks, it corrects. It also limits your bank angles, so you can only tip it so far, so it's hard to get it upset and flip it upside down to where you can crash easily. Now, sometimes with safe, if you modify things like adding flaperons, you can't actually get them to flip over and they do weird things. So be very careful if you do that. We did that the other day. We were playing around with the T28 1.1 meter, me and my son, and it was super fun, except I separated out the ailerons and did flaperons, and it sort of worked, but we lost AS3X and safe on the one aileron, but also I was able to flip it upside down, and boy, that thing got wonky when it was upside down. So otherwise flew fine. If you don't push the limits in safe, then it's no big deal, but I generally don't fly in safe anymore. And for about the first two years or so, maybe a year and a half to 2, I was flying almost exclusively in safe. If I didn't have safe, I had a very easy plane with some stabilization. I still fly with stabilization today. I don't need stabilization to fly, but I far, 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 far prefer flying with stabilization. I think the planes look better. They're easier to handle. It helps with varying conditions like wind, but it's not something you absolutely need. Now this little receiver, the 631, is exactly the same as the the 630 is exactly the same as the 631, except it has internal antennas and it's got end pins. So if you guys are putting together a model and you like the way that that works, this has AS3X and safe built in. And we usually recommend that the AR631 would be the better pick. It's like $5 more. And you can put that in any plug and fly plane you like. If you want to have full telemetry, then you want to go to the AR637T, and that's going to give you barometer for Vario, which is really cool. So boop, 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 beep, beep, boop. And also you get a plug that you can go straight to get your pack voltage. So if you don't have an Avian ESC, which will, by the way, feed back all the smart data back through your receiver and then to your telemetry screens. And you can do that on the AR631, AR630, or the AR637 TA. But without the TA, you won't have the barometer for the Vario. So anyway, hopefully that helps you guys on some of the technical questions. Great plane. If you're new to the hobby, there is a lot to learn. Brian Phillips RC, it's just basically Megan, my wife, the camera crew, and myself. We do this channel together. We've been doing it for about 6+ years, and we love it. It's become a big part of our lives, and the support that we see from this channel has been very expansive. So we're very happy about that. We've been pretty much away from the camera for what, like 5 days now, 6 days,
Yeah.
which is very unusual for us. We both felt sick, and so we pretty much didn't want to have to be on there with no voice, and I barely have a voice yet. But here, hopefully this weekend, we'll be back to full strength, and we'll start getting the videos pumping out again. But we had a few in the can, so we wanted, sometimes we get a hard time for putting out videos when things are either back ordered or pre-ordered. And we don't always know that when we make our production schedules. So we apologize for that. We try. We were actually going to be filming another plane tonight, but we were like, let's not punish the people. Let's film something that they could actually get if they like it, because this thing is available right now at, just follow the link in the video description below. When you buy from the links, you help support our channel with a small financial contribution from these guys, not from you. You pay the same price. They just send us a little commission, which is cool. And then also we have links to the batteries. We'll link to the batteries we used, and we'll link to the NX8. This is a bind and fly plane, so you have to provide your own transmitter and your own battery. And then obviously you need a charger to charge them. So I'm assuming you've already got those things worked out, because I wouldn't necessarily recommend this as a first plane, but it could actually be like your third or fourth plane. And if you're just getting in the hobby and you think you're gonna have one plane, well, get back to me in 6 months and let me know how many you're on.
The hobby.
Yeah, exactly. Because that's what I told my wife too. And now I think I'm up to 200. So anyway, guys, we love it. And we want to bring you along on our journey. And we're here to help you as you learn to fly and you learn to deal with the technology. We walk through in gut-wrenching detail. And my camera crew loves filming all this stuff because she has nothing better to do, like
Right.
take care of the 4 kids we have. So anyway, all right, that's all you get for tonight. Come back for more F-15 Eagle. This thing is awesome. If you haven't already gotten one, you might want to get it right now. Thanks for watching, guys. Come back for more.